You walk into the kitchen, you forget why you're there, and you think, what if that was just a game mechanic you accidentally unequipped? What if your brain ran on a chip system and you traded the objective marker slot for something way cooler, and now you just stand in front of the fridge at 2 a.m. with no idea what you came for? That is the actual premise of this video. We're picking video game mechanics that could theoretically exist in real life, and then watching them fall apart the second they touch normal human society. I've got 10 of these, and I need to warn you right now. The last one on this list is the one that will genuinely ruin your day, because it's the one that sounds the most harmless and turns out to be the most quietly catastrophic. So stick around for that one. Let's start with one that sounds like a superpower and functions like a slow-motion disaster. In Nier Automata, your HUD, your health bar, your mini-map, your objective tracker isn't just a menu overlay. System chips are what construct the elements of the HUD. They are physical microchips that your Android character has literally installed in their brain. Each chip takes up a different amount of space within the inventory, so you have to pick and choose exactly the chips you think you might need, and some of them are quite vital. Want to unlock a massive combat boost? You have to physically unequip something else to free up the slot. Now put that in a human body. You want to run at superhuman speed? Sure, but you have to uninstall your internal hydration sensor to do it. You want to bench press a car? Go ahead, but that slot is currently occupied by the chip that tells you when you're tired. You're now a terrifying physical specimen who passes out cold in a Walmart parking lot because you genuinely forgot to drink water for 11 hours. The chip that reminded you? Gone. You sold it for 3% more upper body strength. The wild part is, people would absolutely do this. Someone would 100% sacrifice their sleep cycle indicator for a slight boost to charisma, and then wonder why they feel like death at every morning meeting. Speaking of things that would make your daily life dependent on the weather, Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand is a Game Boy Advance game produced by Hideo Kojima, and it had a genuinely insane hardware feature. The game made novel use of a light sensor on the cartridge, which encouraged playing parts of the game in direct sunlight. In order to charge the in-game solar weapons, the player had to take their Game Boy Advance outside in the daytime, as verified by the light sensor. Indoor lighting didn't count, it had to be real, direct sunlight. Now imagine that governed human energy. Not sleep, not food, sunlight. Actual UV rays hitting your actual skin. People who work from home, people in office buildings, people living in the UK or the Pacific Northwest would be running on fumes from October through March. You'd have entire populations operating at maybe 15% capacity for half the year, completely frozen in a low battery state, waiting for a single break in the clouds. And the worst part is, you couldn't even fake it. A lamp wouldn't work. Your body would know. Hideo Kojima designed a game that would functionally end civilization in the Northern Hemisphere. Now here's where it starts getting stranger. The next 3 mechanics sound useful right up until the moment they're not, and one of them involves a stress currency that I need you to keep in the back of your mind, because it connects to the last mechanic on this list in a way that's genuinely unsettling. Blades in the Dark is a tabletop RPG with a mechanic called the Flashback. You don't plan your heist ahead of time. You jump straight into the action, and when you hit an obstacle, a locked vault, an unexpected guard, you spend a resource called stress to retroactively declare that you already prepared for this. You flash back to the night before where you apparently bribed that guard or stashed a key under a floorboard. The preparation happens after the problem, which is a genuinely brilliant design. In real life, this is incredible for about 4 days. You show up to your final exam completely unprepared, and you just spend some stress to manifest a cheat sheet that you apparently hid in your desk 3 nights ago. You miss your flight, and you spend some stress to remember that you already called the airline yesterday. Genius. Except stress is finite, and it's not just a number, it's psychological damage. You are literally paying with your mental health every time you use it. So, the person who used it to skip traffic on Tuesday and avoid an awkward conversation on Wednesday and manifest a parking spot on Thursday is now sitting in a full existential crisis by Friday because they burned through their entire reserve of sanity avoiding mildly inconvenient situations. That's the Blades in the Dark real-life nightmare. You'd be fine if you saved it for genuine emergencies. Nobody would save it for genuine emergencies. The Eternal Darkness sanity meter works differently, and it's meaner. When your sanity drops too low in that game, it doesn't just make the world look scary, it gaslights you personally. Fake TV volume sliders appear on screen. The game pretends your save file was deleted. It simulates hardware failure to mess with the person holding the controller. In real life, when you're anxious or stressed, your actual sensory experience would start glitching. You're giving a presentation to 40 people and suddenly there's a giant transparent mute icon floating in the corner of your vision. You're in a job interview and your eyes briefly render a notification that says, "Reality corrupted, delete save file." You're not hallucinating in a dramatic way, you're just getting error messages. Constant, mundane, deeply unnerving error messages that only you can see, triggered by things like a long grocery line or a passive-aggressive email from your boss. Now, Superhot, time only moves when you move. Stand completely still and bullets freeze midair. It sounds like the ultimate power, and it would be, except for one thing, you also have to sleep. And falling asleep requires your body to physically relax and slow down. The moment you stop moving, time stops with you. So you close your eyes, your body starts to wind down, and time just halts. Morning never comes. You are suspended in a permanent state of almost asleep, just conscious enough to know you're not getting there, while the rest of the world sits frozen outside your window. Every night is infinite, every nap is a trap. The hot coffee you were pouring when you sat down is still hanging in midair, scalding hot, waiting for you to move. The Ace Attorney, spirit of justice mechanic called the Divination Seance, lets investigators experience the final 5 seconds of a dead person's life. Not just what they saw, but the smells, the sounds, the physical pain, the temperature, all of it from the inside. Make that standard forensic procedure and you have systematically destroyed the mental health of every detective, coroner, and crime scene investigator on the planet. You're not reviewing evidence anymore. You are physically experiencing being choked, or the deafening ring of a gunshot in your own ears, or the smell of cheap cologne right before the end. Every case, every time. It wouldn't just be traumatic, it would be so comprehensively traumatic that you'd have a workforce entirely compromised by secondhand experience before the end of the first year. Hades has the pact of punishment, which is the game's way of saying, "You're good now, so we're going to make things harder on purpose." To keep progressing, you have to actively select modifiers that strip away your own earned abilities or make basic hazards twice as lethal. The game rewards your success by forcing you to handicap yourself. Life with this mechanic means the moment you get a promotion, the universe hands you a menu. Pick one penalty to continue. Maybe all food now tastes slightly like cardboard. Maybe stairs cost twice the physical energy they used to. Maybe you sleep 45 minutes less per night permanently for the rest of your career. You earned it. You leveled up. So here's your bill. Metal Gear Solid's Psycho Mantis boss fight is famous because the villain reads your memory card and comments on what games you've been playing and how often you save. He bypasses the game entirely and talks about your real behavior. In real life, this means meeting someone who can just read the metadata of your existence. They look at you and say calmly, "I see you spent 4 hours reading Wikipedia articles about obscure medieval history at 2 a.m. last Tuesday. Every first date, every job interview, every time you meet someone's parents, there is no social grace anymore because there is no privacy anymore. Everyone you meet can see your browser history, your 3 a.m. rabbit holes, and exactly how many times you've reread the same 3 texts from one specific person. Slay the Spire draws you a hand of cards each turn, and anything you don't play gets discarded at the end of the round. You can't save cards, you can't plan ahead, use it now or lose it. Your brain works the same way. Every morning you draw 5 action cards, go to the gym, call your mom, pay that bill, start that project, book that appointment. If you don't execute all 5 before the day resets, those specific motivations are gone. Not delayed, not waiting for tomorrow. Gone. The version of you that was genuinely ready to make that phone call today, that person does not exist tomorrow. Tomorrow you draw a fresh hand and the gym card might not come back for weeks. And now the last one, the one I mentioned at the beginning, the one that sounds the most harmless. In the indie stealth game Deadbolt, there are enemies whose heads have been physically removed and placed somewhere else in the level. The twist is that their perception, their sight, their hearing, everything, is still anchored to where the head is sitting. The body walks around doing things, but it only experiences the world through wherever the head happens to be resting. In real life, you leave your head on the kitchen counter and your body goes to work. You're trying to type on your laptop in the living room, but your eyes are looking at the toaster from across the house. You have to navigate your entire day in third person, operating a body you can't directly see, using a head you left behind. And if someone walks into the kitchen and puts a dish towel over your head, your body sitting at your desk goes instantly and completely blind. No warning, no explanation, just darkness because someone needed to dry their hands. That's the one. That's the mechanic that sounds like a quirky inconvenience and is actually just a complete breakdown of what it means to be a person. So here's where we landed. Nier's chip system turns you into a dehydrated superhero. Boktai's solar sensor makes winter a medical emergency. The flashback costs sanity you cannot afford. The sanity meter makes anxiety visible and glitchy. Superhot makes sleep impossible. The seance destroys every investigator who uses it. The pact of punishment taxes your success. Mantis ends privacy forever. Slay the Spire kills long-term motivation. And Deadbolt turns your own head into a liability. You walked into this video thinking about cool game mechanics. You're leaving it thinking about how most of them would quietly collapse human society within a fiscal quarter. If you want to keep going down this rabbit hole, there's a video right over here that's gonna do the same thing to you. Different games, same energy. Drop in the comments which mechanic you'd actually want, knowing full well what it costs. And if you're not subscribed yet, now is a genuinely good time because this is exactly the kind of thing we do here.